These are uncertain times for those of us who create and freely share content via the internet. I mentioned on the podcast earlier this year that I needed some time to assess the impact of all the changes happening in the world of digital information, including the widespread, unregulated use of AI. At that time, I removed the show from a couple of the larger platforms, and I stopped releasing new episodes to those platforms. Unfortunately, many smaller platforms were also affected, and that's made it harder for the show to be found by new listeners, which is a dilemma I'm still wrestling with, because it's become clear that even more changes are necessary to protect the integrity of this podcast, even while making sure that you, the listener, can still access it. So here is the current plan. Starting with episode 177, which will be released on July 29th, 2024, new episodes will appear in more places, but with certain exceptions, they will expire when the next episode is released. And beginning immediately, I'm going to start expiring some of the older episodes, again with certain exceptions, namely the following. If you're used to listening to the videos on our YouTube channel, or if you listen on the Reconnection Club website, nothing will change for you. There will be no expiration, and you can disregard this entire announcement. Again, that is if you listen on either our YouTube channel or our website. However, if you use a podcast player app like iHeartRadio or Pocket Casts, then new episodes, starting with 177, will typically be available for 2 weeks, and then they will expire. There are ways to get around that 2-week limit. Within those first 2 weeks, you should still be able to download episodes and keep them for however long you want, depending on the app. Please check on that directly with your app. I don't have that information about how long they keep your downloads. But if you ever lose an episode or you can't find one that you're looking for, remember you can always find every single episode, old and new, on the Reconnection Club website at reconnectionclub.com/podcast or by episode number. For example, reconnectionclub.com/130 for episode 130. Or subscribe to our YouTube channel for free and listen there. I know that episode expiration will not be a welcome change, and I thank you for your understanding and patience as I try to strike a balance between limiting unauthorized access by AI and preserving your access to the podcast as a listener. I also want to thank you for sharing the Reconnection Club podcast with other parents experiencing unwanted estrangement from their adult children. Thank you for your continued support in these challenging times.